I'm Todd Starnes. Anarchy reigns on the campus of the University of Missouri. A rampaging mob of race agitators ran off Mizzou's president after he refused to acknowledge his white male privilege. Now, that same group manhandled reporters. A professor was caught on video calling for muscle to deal with a young photographer. Now, what's happening at the University of Missouri is an all-out assault on the First Amendment. An army of academic fascists have declared war on the First Amendment, and those who stand in their way are bullied and manhandled. Now, I do not know Mizzou's president, but he seems like a stand-up kind of guy. And as far as I can tell, the only thing he's guilty of is being a white man. Joining me now from Washington, Jolie Ballantyne of the Young America's Foundation. Now, Miss Ballantyne, the narrative coming out of Missouri is that white privilege is a problem and that minority students have a constitutional right not to be offended. What do you say to that?
I think it's absolutely absurd. You do not have a constitutional right to not be offended. Free speech is important. And the fact that these students think that any speech that they disagree with is offensive and should be banned is the real problem here. And I think that the First Amendment is clearly under assault at Mizzou.
Now, I understand that you have some information about an incident that occurred on campus involving a black conservative student. Tell me about what happened.
Absolutely. Jasmine Wells, who came to our Midwest Freedom Conference in Ohio, was called an Uncle Tom on social media after she dared to defend Thomas Jefferson because Thomas Jefferson is seen as racist on Mizzou's campus. It's absolutely absurd. There is not a single liberal that is out there protesting right now that came to Jasmine's defense. And Young America's Foundation was, of course, behind her all the way. It's just ridiculous that racism is only a problem if it's offending liberal students. The fact that conservatives are attacked on a regular basis by liberals is never a problem. You see these attacks against Herman Cain, Allen West, Ben Carson, and Jasmine Wells at Missouri University, and nobody cares about Jasmine Wells. They don't care because she's a conservative. If she was a liberal, it would be a different story.
I think we're seeing that the righteous indignation is rather selective there in Missouri and really at college campuses across the country. Now, I want to be clear. So there was no outcry from the activists on campus, no outcry from the faculty, no outcry from administration?
Absolutely not. You see that the university president was demanding sensitivity training after these bias incidents supposedly against liberal students on campus, but not a single student was sent to diversity training after Jasmine Wells was called an Uncle Tom. And I just think that double standard is the problem on our campuses nationwide. I mean, if I had $1 for every time someone called me an offensive name, I wouldn't have $250,000 of student loans. You do not have a right to not be offended. That's not the world we live in. And these universities across our country are creating these bubbles, and it's not reality. You can't have these safe spaces. That's not what it is like in the real world. And we're doing our students a disservice by telling them that you can't be offended, because in the real world you will be offended.
And yet we know that President Obama, one of his campaign promises from the first administration was that he was ushering in a new time in America where he would unite us. He was the great uniter, not the divider, and that's hardly the case.
Absolutely. Our purple president has done more to divide racial groups in this country than ever before. I mean, we were all supposed to be holding hands and singing Kumbaya by now, but you see that's certainly not the case. I think that the racial climate in this country is at a boiling point. I mean, it's worse now under Obama than it was before, and I think that the liberals in this country, especially under President Obama, have made it a point to divide Americans rather than unite them. And I think that I hope that will change soon.
All right, Ms. Ballantyne, thank you. And thank you for watching. I'm Todd Starnes.